What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Alex Pereira has officially opened up about why he's determined to fight Jon Jones next. While some fans aren't thrilled about the idea of Pereira moving up to heavyweight, the double champion sounds fully committed to making it happen. During a recent Portuguese language interview on Uconnect Caston, Pereira explained that this is the fight he's always wanted, even though he once prioritized staying in his current weight class for health reasons. I've always talked about moving to heavyweight, but I told myself to stay in my division, Pereira said. I cared about my health, but now I'm 38, and I have to think about my career. This is the fight that needs to happen. Even Jon Jones talked about it. We're both big names. No matter what happens, nobody loses. Pereira, who's coming off another dominant win over Nurmagomedov, now has his sights set on becoming the first three-division champion in UFC history. A feat that would make him one of the greatest combat sports athletes ever. But that's not all. Pereira also revealed he plans to transition into boxing in the near future. I'm definitely going to box, he confirmed. When I started in kickboxing, people didn't believe in me. The same happened when I moved to MMA. In boxing, they'll doubt me again, but I don't care. I just want to fight. It's not about money, I like a challenge. I want to be the best. Whether Pereira's legendary knockout power will translate into the boxing ring remains to be seen. However, his track record suggests it's possible. He already holds a professional boxing record of 1-0, with a TKO win from 2017. For now, fans are left wondering, will Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones actually happen? If it does, it could become one of the biggest super fights in UFC history, a collision between two of the most dangerous men to ever step inside the octagon. Before moving on to the next news, we have a quick request for you. We're always working to improve our content and truly value your support. If you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon, it would mean a lot to us. That way, you'll never miss an update. Move on to another news. Umar Nurmagomedov is under immense pressure heading into UFC 321. After breaking his hand and falling short against Merab Dvalishvili, he's determined to bounce back stronger and return to title contention. During an interview with MMA Junkie, aka Coach Javier Mendez, explained that the pressure on Umar is massive because of the legacy tied to his last name. His brother Usman Nurmagomedov remains undefeated, and Khabib Nurmagomedov retired with a perfect record. That legacy brings both pride and weight, and now Umar must prove himself once again. Mendez mentioned that Umar was once compared to Khabib early in his career, even calling him the young eagle. Those comparisons, while flattering, have added to the expectations. There's a lot of pressure on him, Mendez said. He's got to rebound from the loss and come back stronger. It's not just a physical challenge, but a mental one too. Despite the setbacks, Mendez expressed confidence in Umar's progress, praising his intensity and work ethic in training. He's a true fighter and fierce competitor. He wants it badly, Mendez noted, adding that his recent sparring sessions showed incredible improvement. I base my judgment on what I see in the gym, and what I've seen from him lately has been unbelievable. As Nurmagomedov prepares to face Mario Bautista, Merab Dvalishvili has already made it clear that he'd like a rematch and aims to secure a more dominant victory. When asked about that, Umar responded calmly, saying, "I can't say I won't fight him. I'm not scared or avoiding anyone. That's not the champion's way. We'll see what happens." With UFC 321 approaching, all eyes are on Umar Nurmagomedov to see if he can rise above the pressure, restore his momentum, and carry the Nurmagomedov legacy forward. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker has shared his thoughts on Umar Tsarukyan's game plan ahead of their anticipated clash at UFC Qatar. Tsarukyan made it clear that his strategy is to take Hooker down and wrestle him for 25 minutes. But Hooker believes the fight won't be that one-dimensional. He's a fighter who matches fire with fire, Hooker explained during an interview with iHome of Fighting. If you strike with him, he'll strike. If you wrestle, he'll wrestle. He's capable everywhere, and so am I. He keeps saying we're going to wrestle and I'll get tired, but he forgets that wrestling isn't a one-way street. You can't wrestle someone, make me tired, and not get tired yourself. Wrestling drags both fighters into the pit. I'm ready to get tired. What's he going to do? Make me tired. Despite the tension between them, Hooker still showed respect for Tsarukyan's skills, calling him one of the best fighters in the lightweight division. Regardless of the bad blood, I feel like he's the best fighter in the division, skill for skill, even compared to the champion. I want to fight the best guy I can get my hands on, Hooker said. While fans had been eager to see Hooker face Justin Gaethje, he made it clear that Tsarukyan was the fight he personally wanted most. There are other exciting matchups for the fans, but this is the fight that means the most to me, he stated. For Hooker, the stakes couldn't be higher. A win over Tsarukyan would propel him past the other contenders at 155 pounds. pounds and likely earn him a shot at the UFC lightweight title, potentially setting up a showdown with reigning champion Ilia Topuria. Hooker's confidence, grit, and readiness to battle on every front suggest that his fight with Tsarukyan could be one of the most intense matchups of the year. Both fighters are known for their relentless pace and all-around skill, ensuring that UFC Qatar will deliver fireworks when they meet inside the octagon. Move on to another news. Rumors are heating up in the MMA world that Khamzat Chimaev's next opponent could be Reinier De Ridder. Following Anthony Hernandez's withdrawal from this weekend's UFC Vancouver card, many fans assumed that Nasruddin Imavov would be the frontrunner for the next middleweight title shot. However, the UFC has yet to make any official announcement regarding Chimaev's first title defense, and according to Reinier De Ridder himself, that silence might be because he's next in line. Speaking during his media day appearance on Wednesday, De Ridder stated, "Yeah, Imavov is not getting the shot. That's why they haven't announced it." The Dutch submission specialist remains focused on his upcoming fight against Brendan Allen, but he's confident that a win this weekend would secure him a title opportunity against Chimaev. De Ridder, known for his elite grappling and composure inside the cage, has drawn praise from many in the MMA community. Following Chimaev's championship victory at UFC 319, Rogan discussed on air with Daniel Cormier and John Anik why De Ridder could be the toughest challenge yet for the undefeated Chechen star. Rogan highlighted De Ridder's ability to dominate on the ground while also being dangerous on the feet. He's got a slick grappling game, serious toughness, and that long let-in knee he throws is nasty, Rogan explained. He's experienced, calm under pressure, and mixes up his combinations well. He could give Khamzat real problems. While Nasruddin Imavov recently secured a unanimous decision win over Caio Baralho, the spotlight is now firmly on De Ridder. A highlight reel finish against Allen could solidify his case for a title shot and create one of the most intriguing stylistic matchups in the division. If the fight materializes, fans could witness a clash between two of MMA's most dominant grapplers, Chimaev's relentless wrestling versus De Ridder's submission mastery. With both fighters possessing elite ground control and underrated striking, a potential Chimaev versus De Ridder showdown promises to be one of the most technical and explosive battles in recent UFC memory. Move on to another news. UFC middleweight champion Dricus du Plessis recently shared his thoughts on Khamzat Chimaev's bold call-out of Alex Pereira for a potential fight at light heavyweight. While the idea has generated plenty of buzz online, du Plessis made it clear he doesn't believe Chimaev stands a beating the reigning two-division champion Dar. Speaking about the situation, du Plessis said, "He's always had some wild call-outs. Honestly, there's no way Khamzat beats Pereira in my opinion. Right now, Alex is one of the greatest athletes to ever compete in combat sports, not just MMA. What he's accomplished across different divisions and disciplines is incredible." Du Plessis went on to praise Pereira's size and strength at light heavyweight, referencing his dominant performance against Magomed Ankalaev. Even now at 205, Alex looks massive. Against Ankalaev, his physicality and power were unbelievable. I just don't see anyone, especially Khamzat, matching up well against that. He further emphasized that the talk surrounding a potential Pereira vs Chimaev fight is more hype than reality. "It's all part of the buzz," du Plessis added. "I don't think there's any realistic chance that fight happens anytime soon. It's fun to talk about, but stylistically, Pereira is just too strong, too experienced, and too dangerous." With Chimaev's ambitions to move up in weight and challenge top contenders in multiple divisions, fans continue to speculate about possible super fights. However, du Plessis' comments reflect a broader sentiment among fighters and analysts that Alex Pereira's striking, size, and composure make him one of the most formidable opponents in UFC history. While Khamzat's confidence and aggression keep his name in every major conversation, Dricus du Plessis believes the gap between him and Pereira at 205 pounds is simply too wide to bridge, at least for now. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen recently shared their thoughts on a potential showdown between Khamzat Chimaev and Alex Pereira, expressing real concern about the massive size difference between the two fighters. Both former champions agreed that Pereira's physical presence and frame could prove to be too much for Chimaev to handle. When asked who would win, Cormier admitted, "Pereira is just so big. Size matters at a certain point. Sure, Khamzat would be a problem in some positions, but dragging a man that large to the canvas for 25 minutes is a completely different challenge. Even if Khamzat gets him down once or twice, Pereira is such a big man to keep there." Cormier went on to break down the difference between middleweight and light heavyweight. "It might not matter from 170 to 185, but when you start jumping 20 pounds or more, it absolutely matters. You're talking about a 100 185-pounder who walks around at 210 pounds, fighting a 205-pounder who might weigh 235, or even 245, or even 245, or even Deribit. Chael Sonnen echoed Cormier's perspective, saying that while Chimaev's wrestling could pose early problems, Pereira's strength, range, and striking accuracy would make him extremely dangerous. Alex is not just big, he knows how to use that size. His timing, precision, and ability to land those fight-ending shots make him one of the hardest guys to deal with in the sport, Sonnen noted. Both analysts concluded that although Chimaev's pressure and grappling are alike, the physical gap between him and Pereira might simply be too wide. Cormier summed it up bluntly. At some point, size has to matter, and against Alex Pereira, that point might come real fast. Move on to another news. Alex Pereira has expressed mutual interest in a potential heavyweight clash with Jon Jones, calling it a win-win scenario for both fighters. Speaking to eConnect Cast, the reigning UFC light heavyweight champion revealed that he's long considered a move to heavyweight, but chose to remain in his division out of concern for his health and longevity. "I've always talked about this fight, about moving up to heavyweight," Pereira said. "But then I told myself, man, stay in your weight class. I wanted to stay healthy and focus on maintaining my body. But now I'm 38, and I'm thinking more about my career and legacy. I believe that's the fight that needs to happen." Pereira went on to point out that Jon Jones himself has also mentioned interest in a potential matchup, further fueling the excitement among fans. "Even Jon has been talking about this fight," he continued. "I think the same way he does. We're both big names in the sport. No matter what happens, nobody loses in this fight." For Pereira, the prospect of facing the UFC heavyweight champion represents the ultimate challenge. A chance to test his striking prowess and championship mindset against one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. Meanwhile, Jonas' acknowledgement of Pereira's dominance at light heavyweight has only strengthened fan demand for the crossover bout. If the fight materializes, it would be one of the most anticipated matchups in recent UFC history, a true collision between two of the sport's most elite talents, each at the peak of their fame and skill. Pereira's confidence and Jonas' legacy make this potential super fight a defining moment for modern MMA. Move on to another news. Ahead of UFC Vancouver, Renato Moicano sparked controversy by accusing the UFC of favoring Canadian fighters in matchmaking. Speaking passionately, the Brazilian lightweight suggested that Canadian athletes are given easier opponents compared to their Brazilian counterparts, allowing them to build hype and momentum more easily. "I hate Canadian cards, bro," Moicano said. "I think it's easier to be a Canadian fighter. They get better matchups. The UFC tries to prop them up. When it comes to Brazilians, they throw us to the wolves. If a Brazilian loses once, he loses all his hype. But if a Canadian loses, the UFC builds him back up again." Moicano's comments came while discussing the upcoming fight between Marlon Chito Vera and Ayman Zahabi. He made it clear that he doesn't like Zahabi and hopes Vera wins. "Chito versus Zahabi is actually a very good fight, but I hope Chito beats him," Moicano said bluntly. "I just don't like that guy. He's on a streak, but I still think Vera's experience and toughness could get it done." Despite his harsh words, Moicano did acknowledge Zahabi's skills and fight IQ. "He's a smart fighter," Moicano admitted. "He's beaten tough opponents before and he has good striking and defense. It's not going to be an easy fight for Chito. It might be a close decision." The Brazilian's comments quickly drew attention online, with fans debating whether his criticism of the UFC's matchmaking policies had merit or was simply an emotional reaction. Regardless, Moicano's outspoken nature once again made headlines, adding extra drama ahead of the Vancouver card.